So I wanted to share a few thoughts I had about the recent FDA and MDMA status. And so for those of you who have not been following it, MDMA, the psychedelic medicine and compound, has been submitted to the FDA as a treatment for PTSD. And this has been a long time coming. I would say MDMA and PTSD have the strongest research and academic link I can think of. There's been so much done on it. I think it's the surest bet as far as the psychedelic medicine paired with a pathology that we have. But recently, last week, the FDA released some concerns they had about the MDMA application. This advisory committee released some concerns and some risks that they saw. The final decision is going to be made in August, but this advisory committee typically is indicative of what the final decision usually comes down to. So it's not looking good for MDMA being FDA approved for PTSD. So in times like this, I reflect. I talk to some people in my network, and I think it's really useful to share your story because MDMA has helped so many people, and you can really hear the emotion behind people and their stories when they talk about it. And I'm usually very selective about when I share my story, especially when it comes to psychedelics, because they're so unique and so personalized. And every experience is so different, and the medicine hits people so differently. But I think it's useful to touch on my experience with MDMA. So my first ever psychedelic experience was with MDMA, and I really could not have asked for a better one. I had done academic research on MDMA myself years before even doing it and trying it for myself. So I really had a great foundation of how it's supposed to work, the risks involved, but the benefits and what you should expect to feel, especially when it's addressing trauma and addressing deeper things. So I really had a good foundation and did as much academic research as I possibly could. I actually published research on it. I also presented research at MAPS on this link. So I was super informed and then eventually experienced it. And again, so many beautiful factors were in my favor. So I was around really great people that held a really good container for me and really looked out for me and cared about me. The dosage was good. The source I really trusted as well. I think the big thing that I always say that it really left me with was a language for self-love. And it was so stark because I had never had that kind of language for myself before. How we speak to ourselves, I truly think, is the foundation to how we go about our lives. It's how we respond to things, it's how we treat other people. How we treat ourselves and talk to ourselves is so paramount to all the other areas of life. So, up until that point, I had such a negative and critical and finding the cracks sort of voice in my head that was very damaging and more than I could ever realize. So MDMA really showed me the language of self-love that I had never learned or ever had, and it allowed me to have probably 6 to 7 hours of true self-love and empathy and connectedness, obviously, with everything around me. But it taught me this language, and it really set me on this path, and it's really helped me grow. And I would not be where I am today. I wouldn't be as happy or as connected as I feel I am today without that first experience with MDMA. I think sharing our stories and sharing the beautiful impact it's had on everybody needs to happen now because of this FDA pushback. But continue to share your passion about it and share your feelings about it if you've been impacted by the medicine, because it's done wonders, and it's going to keep doing wonders for thousands of people.